Every originator at some point gets to a place where they really feel like they're overwhelmed with tasks. They've got enough business going on, they are generating new referral partners, and they really feel like they need some more support. And so I want to talk about that because it's a really important decision as a loan originator if you're going to take on a production assistant or maybe even a junior loan officer. Most large originators have evolved to a team. It didn't just happen the first time they got in the business. It started because their marketing skills, their ability to generate leads, referrals, became so substantial that in order just to keep that momentum going and to keep growing their business, they needed additional support. Some companies provide some of that support or assist in that support, but I want to talk about the decisions you have to think about when you're a loan consultant and you bring on, and I'll just use the production assistant as the first point of this. A production assistant should never be brought on because you have a hot refi market. I know that sounds bad, but the reality is a hot refi market changes and it becomes a colder refi market, and that need for that production assistant is no longer there. It should be that your purchase business, the sustainable piece of our business, is growing at a rate you just cannot keep up. That's first. Number two, you should look very carefully at the kind of person that will be your best partner in this job. Is it an administrative person who knows how to use technology better than you do, perhaps, and can help you manage taking applications on systems and platforms you work with? That, to me, probably is more of a system and platform issue. Every great originators companies should have platforms that they can manage their way through applications and get them processed. Where I think the production assistant becomes important is in the customer experience. When I talk to great originators and I ask them what's the thing that bothers them the most, it's kind of repeating what I would call the mundane details with the consumer on how to manage the process, whether to use a portal, whether to get certain paperwork in that they knew they needed and they're kind of chasing after it. Those kinds of things are either done by a processor or a production assistant. Those are the jobs that when you have enough volume and you can afford a production assistant, because a production assistant probably should add 4, 5, 6 loans a month to your ability if you have those kind of leads. That's where you have to measure it. Is it worth it? And number 3, I would tell you in choosing a production assistant, if you think about first-time home buyers in our market, they're about 43% of the purchase market. And many of us in this industry don't speak that many languages. So if you can find a production assistant that has not only the skills you're looking for from a marketing standpoint, technology, administration, but also has maybe bilingual skills, has some diversity to your team, it will enhance your ability to grow your business exponentially. It's a market you may not be able to attack because of its barriers. But if you have a production assistant that can help you in that regard, it will really make a difference. One of our top originators who works with a home builder I know hired a production assistant that could speak Spanish. And believe it or not, she probably wouldn't have that account today if she didn't have the assistance of the production assistant when they needed it with people who struggled with English as their first language. So adding diversity to your team is an element I think the mortgage industry's missed. I think we're always looking for people who understand how to do technology, who may have the ability to support you, but it's important to also look for diversity in your team. The last thing I'd mention is working with family. A lot of our industry has production assistants, junior loan officers that are relatives of ours. And you know, it's a great mentoring opportunity if someone's going to actually get in this business for that to take place. But you also need to be able to separate the two. And that's always not so easy. You know, I have 2 kids in the business, as you've heard me on several videos say, and it's important that I understand the difference between being a dad and being maybe a manager in an executive in a company they're working in. Because at the end of the day, they're 2 very, very different jobs, and I have to understand where those lines can get blurred. I think all of us are the same. When you work with family, especially in a production assistant, meaning they kind of work for you role, you have to be very sensitive to both those realities. I think that's just important for you to do, and I'm sure many of you have experienced it. And even if it's been successful, it's wonderful. If it's not been successful, it's been very difficult. So when you're going to be a loan officer and you're going to approach your organization and say, I'd like to hire a production assistant, to further grow my business, you have to agree that it's the right selection. You have to agree that it complements your style of business and is going to truly augment your business. And number three, you have to commit to being a mentor to that person. You're not just, supervising their activities and telling them what to do. You're actually training them in how you do your business. You're actually delivering to them an extension of yourself. And that takes time, takes patience, and it takes a loan officer who wants to really grow together with their partner and have the best possible partnership, that kind of responsibility. So I hope all of you get to the point where you need a production assistant and you've got that kind of growth and it makes economic sense for you and your company. But be smart about how you choose it, when you choose it, and pick the right person, and you're going to be a great originator.